Hello, thank you so much for joining us. The Trump administration claimed it, quote, obliterated Iran's key nuclear sites, but CBS News is learning that may not be the case. A preliminary intel assessment finds U.S. strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend only set back the country's nuclear program by a few months. That insight comes as President Trump is in the Netherlands for the NATO summit, although the meeting is likely to be overshadowed by developments in the Middle East. The president said late yesterday that Israel and Iran had agreed to a complete and total ceasefire after nearly 2 weeks of fighting. Both sides were still trading strikes up to the moment the agreement went into effect. Israel says an Iranian missile killed at least 4 people before the ceasefire took hold. Israeli officials also claim Iran launched more attacks after the deal was announced, which Iran denies. In response, Israel's defense minister said he instructed the military to resume attacks on Iran's capital city. At the White House this morning, President Trump accused both sides of endangering their chance for peace.
We basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing.
But after speaking directly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Trump wrote on Truth Social, quote, Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home, adding nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. We have CBS News team coverage on this story. Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is at the White House. Senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata is at the Pentagon, and senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is following President Trump in the Netherlands. Nancy, I want to start with you at the White House. What more are we learning about the damage assessment from this weekend's strikes on Iran?
Tom, according to 3 sources who have spoken to CBS News, this preliminary assessment, which was conducted by the Defense Intelligence Agency, indicates that these nuclear sites that were hit by U.S. bombs and missiles this weekend were severely damaged, but were not destroyed, and that it will take anywhere from a few months up to a little less than a year for the Iranians to get back to work. According to our sources, the assessment indicates that the bunker-busting bombs did cave in the entrances to the Fordow nuclear facility, but that the actual uranium-enriching infrastructure is buried so far underground that it remains largely intact, and that it's just a matter of the Iranians being able to dig out those entrances, restore electricity and water service to the site, and then they can get back to work. And this is obviously a crucial development for a couple of reasons. First of all, President Trump has been insisting that the nuclear facilities were obliterated. And this assessment, according to our sources, would indicate otherwise, although it is important to note this is a preliminary assessment based on signals intelligence, based on satellite imagery. And so things could still change. But it is also, Tom, sure to fire up Democrats who already had big questions about the justification that President Trump was using to launch these strikes in the first place. They say that the intelligence did not indicate that Iran was as close to producing a nuclear weapon as Trump claimed that the country was. And now they're going to have big questions about the claims Trump is making about the success of this strike, too.
Yeah, one other big question, as you mentioned, Nancy, what is the president doing to try to keep this fragile ceasefire intact?
Well, the president railed against both Iran and Israel this morning in an expletive-laden commentary to reporters before he got on Marine One and the Air Force One to head to NATO, really threatening them that they needed to both cease firing upon one another immediately to sort of make good on the ceasefire that he claimed he had brokered the night before. He now appears to be more positive, says that both sides have called off their final strikes, and he now believes that in the future, if this ceasefire holds and the end of the war, this 12-day war, as he calls it, is near, that perhaps in the future the U.S. and Iran can even be trading partners, and that perhaps in the future the U.S. can be purchasing Iranian oil.
Certainly a tense situation, something many around the world are watching very closely. Nancy Cordes for us at the White House. Nancy, thank you. All right, let's now turn to CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata. He's at the Pentagon. Charlie, good to see you. What is the Pentagon saying about the damage done to Iran's nuclear program? There's a lot we don't know, right?
Well, there's a lot we don't know and some that looks like we do know. And really, it depends on who you talk to. But the official line from the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, not rowing it back, still the same as the president, Iran's nuclear program has been completely obliterated. Obviously, that appears from the preliminary assessment to be at odds. That tells a different story. The White House has already pushed back, calling it flat out wrong. So we reached out to the Defense Secretary's office today, and we got this statement. Based on everything we've seen, and I've seen it all, our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. Our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran. So anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. So we'll expect to hear more from that. And we expect to get that full report, as Nancy said, the full report from the Defense Intelligence Agency in the coming days. And we expect also to get some more details as far as exactly how much damage was done there.
So, Charlie, we heard from Nancy saying that the president had struck a much more optimistic tone on Truth Social about the ceasefire deal between Israel and Iran. But can you get us up to speed? What's the status of that as we speak?
Yeah, well, Tom, so he was very angry this morning. You know, he's used those expletives because both sides were firing each other overnight. You know, so when he was heading to the summit, he was very angry at what was happening because he believes that both sides violated the ceasefire. But tonight, the truce remains intact. It appears to be holding, but, you know, it comes after a heavy barrage from both sides because it seemed that both sides had violated it. And sometimes, you know, I've seen a lot of these ceasefires and you immediately hear ceasefire violations right after that. It happens in Ukraine, it happens in Israel against Hamas, and obviously it's happened with Israel against Iran. Part of it's because it was kind of vague as far as how it was supposed to be phased out. And it also, believe it or not, it sometimes comes down to time zones. You know, what does midnight mean in Israel? What's midnight in Iran? But there were waves of attacks that went back and forth, claiming civilian lives, firing missiles into Israel. 4 civilians were killed there. So it's not uncommon for both sides to get their last shots in. That always happens. But tonight, there's a tenuous ceasefire. It appears to be holding. It is fragile, but holding for now.
Tenuous and fragile indeed. Charlie D'Agata reporting for us from the Pentagon. Charlie, thank you for that.